Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dayo.
Hello, good afternoon to you and welcome to Hard Fact 92.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dayo. 10 minutes gone past 3 p.m. on a fine Monday afternoon. It's the 19th day in the month of July. Discussions commence at this time on the show, the very first of this week, as it comes away Mondays through Fridays, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. I hope you had a fine weekend. Well, I did. It was very well. Thanks for asking. And I hope the start to the working week has been a productive one for you as well. Not as much work will be done this week for most persons, I imagine, as the Eid holidays are tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, as directed by the federal government. I believe we do have our Muslim brothers and sisters to thank for the holidays. So congratulations, Happy Eid al-Kabir to every Muslim out there. And I wish you a great celebration. I know that it is customary to get a ram for Muslims to celebrate the occasion. However, for economic reasons, I imagine that some Muslims at least may not be able to afford a ram at this time. But whether or not that's the case, it takes nothing away from you relishing the season. Remember, it's the reason for this season is what counts, and I'm sure that the reason is not the ram. Okay, so enjoy it, and to those Muslims who are economically empowered enough to get a ram, remember those around you who can't, and also remember your Christian friends also who would not mind sharing your ram with you as well, or those of other religions for that matter who wouldn't mind sharing the ram with you. Remember them. It's very important that you remember them. Alright, 11 past 3. Let's get the conversation going. I do have, I do have a rant coming up today, as usual, as usually is the case, after today's side comment as well, which is also somewhat a regular feature. Now, that takes us to 4. I'll get your thoughts on mine till 4 p.m. except on today's side comments, as always usually is the case as well. So at 4 p.m. we've got business news coming up, and then we delve into some other matters of discourse. Said other matters of discourse. NBC concerned about coverage of insecurity. Yep, the NBC is concerned about that, as several reports in the dailies have obviously expressed already. Let's go with this one from the Vanguard newspaper. NBC directive on security reportage. NBC directives vague. Without freedom, media becomes PR. Mustafa Isa, Guild of Editors president. Yeah, now Mustafa Isa, president, Nigeria Guild of Editors, has said the directive from the NBC censoring report and review of terrorist attacks and victims across the country was vague. Issa added that editors and security agencies have mutual interest, noting that too much would have been better explained in a confidential meeting. Therefore, he said the directive is vague. They should have given instances of where we had glamorized attacks which would have explained their directive. The NGE president said this on Channels TV Sunrise Daily on Monday morning. In a set program, Ofyong SAN said the editors should file legal proceedings to seek an explanation from NBC on what they mean by the directive. Also, former director of DSS, Mike Ejiofor, said, quote, I smell a rat. The NBC's directive must be a smokescreen. They must be targeting a particular media house. He, however, said what NBC should be doing is engaging the editors rather than issuing directives. Speaking further, Issa, the NGE, that's the Guild of Editors president, said, quote, the media reports events and do not create the stories. If attacks don't happen, the media won't report them. The media serve the public. I'm against ethnic profiling of criminals, but serving regional interests is allowed. If any such report offends anyone or group, the opposing interest can also sit for a face-off and let the viewers decide who is right or wrong. A few matters to consider here. Should broadcast media houses report cases of insecurity? If they can or should, how should they go about doing this to serve the interests of the public, to serve national security interests? And what exactly are their responsibilities towards the listeners, towards society? How do they balance that with ensuring that security is also not threatened? These and other related matters we'll be looking at in the 4 o'clock hour. I'll be speaking with Fidelis Mba. He's an international journalist and media trainer. That comes up in the 4 o'clock hour. This takes us to 5 p.m. Well, in spite of the seeming progress the progress that's been made with the petroleum industry bill, it is still raising quite a lot of dust in the country. The PIB and its contentions, several or many, several or few, is what we're going to be discussing in the 5 o'clock hour, and also other matters related to particularly Rivers State, especially in the energy and natural resources sector. I'll be speaking with Dr. Peter Mede. He's Rivers State Commissioner for Energy and Natural Resources. He'll be my guest in the 5 o'clock hour after the news update. Headlines at 5:30 p.m, major news at 6 p.m, and open season comes up afterwards. During which, if you miss out on any matter discussed on the show, I'll get your thoughts on it. During that period, any matters discussed or mentioned by myself, including the side comments, those can be attended to during the open season segment, which comes up after the major news at 6 p.m. At about 7, the show comes to an end. The sports gang will be in for extra time. And I believe arguably the biggest sporting story in the world at the moment, I think, has to do with the Olympics, I imagine. Yep, the Olympics. Yeah, definitely. I think it's just in a matter in 4 days. July 23 is the opening day of the Olympics, all the way to August 8. Wish Team Nigeria the very best. Even though some bad news coming already, but there are reports that some, maybe quite a few actually, members of certain contingent to the Olympics, Tokyo, have tested positive for coronavirus. Also, there's the story of the Ugandan athlete, who is set to be missing in Japan, and that's not a good one. Not good for Uganda, no doubt. Not good for Africa as well, as I do imagine that there will be a lot of backlash and possibly even some negative media, some negative press involving, sadly, not just Uganda, but I imagine even Africa as well. Anyways, the missing Ugandan Olympic hopeful left a note saying he wants to work in Japan. And that's a story from the CNN. Anyways. Well, let's just, I've told you what we're discussing on the show today. If there are going to be any changes, you will find out. Simply stating. Let's move on to today's side comments now. Random stories and random thoughts that I came across, which will not be discussed at this time. I'll simply start, or should I say continue, with the Ugandan athlete story from CNN. Missing Ugandan Olympic hopeful left note saying he wants to work in Japan. A Ugandan athlete who has gone missing in Tokyo ahead of the Olympic Games had left a note saying his life in the African country was too difficult and he wanted to work in Japan, officials have said. Julius Sekitoleko, a 20-year-old weightlifter, failed to qualify for the Games after his arrival in Japan and was due to fly back to Uganda on July 20. But he was not seen at a local station near his delegation to town in Izumi Sano at 6:30 a.m. on Friday. The athlete purchased a Shinkansen bullet train ticket to Nagoya, about 200 kilometers away, and Izumi Sano official told CNN. In the note, the athlete said he did not want to return to Uganda and asked the members of his delegation to send his belongings back to his wife. City officials first feared he was missing around midday on Friday when they noticed that a COVID-19 test sample had not been submitted by Secuteleko, city official said. And local police have been looking for him without success. Well, like I said, not very great for Uganda, and definitely not great for Africa as well. But I do wish the Olympic hopeful. I wish him the very best. I'm not sure what that would mean in this case. Is the very best that he be found and sent back to Uganda, or is the very best that he is not found, or at least not found immediately? Because you get the feeling inevitably he will be found, but not found immediately, and he's able to stay in Japan for a while. I don't know. What do you think will be the best for him? Maybe I can take a few, let's see, thoughts via WhatsApp on 0809 030 6416. That's 0809 030 6416. Once again, 0809 030 6416. That's via WhatsApp. What do you think? What do you think? Would be the best for these particular athletes? But whilst I await your messages, possibly, let's take a look at some of the other things that caught my attention on the news today. Governor Nyesom has commended the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami for granting his request to build a law school in Rivers State, despite being a major critic of the federal government. The governor, during the flag-off over the weekend of the Port Harcourt campus of the law school, cited in Rumeme Obiakpo local government area. He said his administration is poised to build and furnish the campus. Let's see, let's hear what he had to say. 657. All right, here we are.
It is important today. People are saying, what a wonderful project, what a wonderful decision that we took. Every Rivers man and woman who is now going to play politics will know that the decision of starting law school in Port Harcourt is very, very key. Not only will it help in reducing the number of those who will ordinarily wouldn't have gone to law school at the time they finish, but will also improve the economy of the state. It will improve the economy.
All right, there you have it. It's a good thing, no doubt about that we have more law schools in Rivers State. Definitely it's a good thing. And, well, in the country, I must say, we never had it in Rivers State. It's a good thing we have, or we're going to have more law schools in the country, I imagine. So, well, kudos to the Rivers State government for the initiative. The governor particularly, whom I imagine it may have been his brainchild, at least what we've heard so far. So, a thumbs up for that. Let's see, what has caught my attention today? Well, INEC says it has the capacity to transmit election results electronically. INEC National Commissioner Festus Okoye. No, I think, that comes up later on. I'll leave that one alone for now. I'll leave that alone for now. All right. Right, River State, Lagos, FCT, Oyo, Kaduna, Kano and Plateau have been placed on red alert following the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic and confirmation of Delta variant of the coronavirus. Chairman, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, in a statement, said the government will sustain the restrictive measures against travelers from India, Brazil, Turkey and South Africa. All right, so we should be, be careful once again. If you haven't received the COVID-19 vaccine, it's very advisable that you go get the vaccine. I've been vaccinated myself, as I believe, I do know for a fact, many of my colleagues here also, if not everyone. So go get vaccinated, stay safe, protect yourself, protect your families, protect your loved ones, and be responsible not just for yourself, for others also, I believe. Alright, so I asked the question earlier, what do you think is going to be good for this Ugandan athlete? Via WhatsApp, Emeka says that he's not found and he finds a way to better his life. Africa is hard. I wish he's not found out. Since he's found his dreamland, he deserves better. That's Stanley from Woji. When he's found, he should be given a job in Japan before he'll commit suicide. That's from Ale. Well, Ale, it doesn't work that way. I mean, there are rules and regulations for emigrating to another country. Otherwise, there will be absolute chaos and anarchy. People will just live in droves and decide to go to anywhere they want to go to. But we can't have that. And the important thing for Africa, and I get what you're saying about how tough things are in Africa. So the important thing is, or the best option for Africa and for Africans, Nigeria for example, is that we get credible leaders, responsive and responsible leaders in positions of authority who are going to manage the affairs of Africa, manage the affairs of the countries in Africa, and improve the livelihoods and well-being of the people. That's what we need, not people eloping. Or maybe not eloping, but people jumping ship, if you will, to some other country. Now, imagine what impact this would have on other African countries, and how their athletes are perceived in Japan or any other international tournament for that matter. Imagine what it's going to feel like for the athletes if they go for international meets or international tournaments, and they see that there is some extra attention being given to them security-wise to ensure that they do not run away or escape, if you will. How is that going to make them feel? Not good, I imagine, and they're not going to be able to concentrate on the primary reason that they're there, to represent the country in some sporting engagement. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not good for Uganda, and it's not good for Africa either. That's just it. Alright, so I think I'll be wrapping up the side comments on that note. Yes, I am. I go for a break right now. When I return, a commercial break that is, when I return, today's rant comes up, just stating something in my mind, be expressing some thoughts on it. Hope you get your take on mine till about 4 p.m. Please stay with us.
We give the facts.
News entirely.
We give the evidence. Just to keep you informed.
News, weather.
I get my information top of the hour every hour.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity. We are Nigeria Info.
Listen to me. I said this is a real situation and the government has to do something about it. You're trying to insinuate all these people looting Nigeria's money?
This is Nigeria Info, in the heart of Nigeria. 92.3. We are Nigeria Info.
News, 6 a.m.
Your Excellency, I have been asked to summon you to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
That position has always been very clear. The forthcoming election is sensitive and decisive.
News, 12 noon.
Abandoned project by the former administration, it's a problem. I have spoken with my people. We all agree that from today there shall be no vandalization.
News 6 p.m.
You don't sell assets to consume. If there is need for it, to sell assets, to invest, to create wealth.
Tune in to our major bulletins at 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. And our updates every hour on the hour on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
To thrive in a fast-changing world.
Tune in to 92.3 Nigeria Info for the best of news, talk, and sports 24/7.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts with Dio.
Hello, welcome back. Still had Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dial. 3:30 p.m. is the time. I'd like to rant for just a bit. There's something in my mind. I'll be expressing some thoughts in it, and you're welcome to express your thoughts in mine all the way till 4 p.m. This was on the news earlier on, and I think I started to read it during my side comments just a while ago, and I had to stop myself at some point when I remembered it was the subject of today's rant. So I'll just get straight to it. Now, INEC says, INEC once again, just in case you have forgotten, is the Independent National Electoral Commission. It's very important because the meaning of INEC, or the meaning of the acronym, it is quite critical, quite crucial for the conversation that we're having at this time. And once again, for emphasis sake, INEC is the Independent National Electoral Commission. That's what it is. Now, that said, let's move on. So this story once again was on our news earlier on today, I do believe. Yes, it was. And here we go. INEC says it has the capacity to transmit election results electronically. INEC National Commissioner Festus Okoye, in an interview, said INEC's joint committee made up of telecommunication stakeholders had revised the system and concluded that electronic transmission of results was possible. Let's hear what Festus Okoye of INEC had to say on the matter.
If you also look at some of the elections we have organized since 2020, you can see that we have uploaded the results of 22 elections, including state assembly elections, House of Representatives elections, senatorial elections, and governorship elections into our central portal where the public had an opportunity of viewing them. So we have uploaded results from very remote areas. We have made our own position very, very clear that we have the capacity to deepen the use of technology in the electoral process.
Now, I would like to speak on this for just a bit. For so long a time, it's been argued, and maybe rightly so, that Nigeria's biggest problem is the quality of leaders that she has. The reason why Nigeria is referred to as the poverty capital of the world, the reason why Nigeria has arguably the highest number of out-of-school children in the world, the reason why Nigeria ranks high on the rankings or list of terrorized countries in the world, the reason unemployment, figures keep going sky high, the reason everything negative you can possibly imagine is somewhat sky high, maybe at an all-time high in Nigeria. And this is not necessarily a response caused by any one particular government. It's been a progressive thing, if you will, if I may use the word progressive. It's been a steady or decline, depends on your perspective. It's been a steady decline over years and decades of bad governance and mismanagement. Now, while that may be true, one other thing that is no doubt true and needs to be focused on as well is the process that leads to these, as many refer to them on occasion, bad leaders emerging from the electoral process, is because the electoral process itself is seen as flawed. Now, the electoral process, you may consider to be some sort of a foundation or a basis for which or on which the leaders emerge and are able to do whatever it is that they do. So, if we have things wrong from the electoral process, it's very likely that that faulty process is going to produce not the best quality as far as leadership is concerned. And to some degree, maybe a great degree, as maybe argued by some persons, that exactly is the case in Nigeria. So, efforts know that everyone agree, even people in government, even maybe some of them bad people in government, agree that we need to reform the electoral system somewhat. We have an agency that's responsible for managing the electoral process, conducting elections, and every other thing that has to do with the electoral process, registering voters, coming up with innovations to improve the system, even electoral reform. All of these things are saddled with and are the responsibility of one agency of government, and that agency of government is referred to as INEC. Once again, what does INEC mean? Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, it's very important to also note that the I in INEC means independent. Once again, the I in INEC means independent. It means that this agency, this commission, should not be interfered with. Its activities, its actions, its responsibilities, its duties should not be tampered with in any way. There shouldn't be either seen or perceived, real or imagined, any kind of interference in the actions or in the workings or in the activities or in INEC's attempts at carrying out its responsibilities. Now, INEC is not just there to conduct elections. INEC is also there to review the system from time to time, upgrade the process, and as much as possible ensure that we have as credible an electoral process as possible. Now, this independent commission, well, supposedly independent commission, has come out to say we want to work to improve the electoral process, and we are convinced that not just electronic voting, by whatever means they're going to accomplish that, but also electronic transmission of results is critical if we are to take our electoral process to the next level. Now, does it mean that questions cannot be asked just because INEC is independent? Of course not. Questions can be asked, and questions should and must be asked, as a matter of fact, because no matter how independent INEC is, or any other commission or agency of government for that matter, they are not responsible for lawmaking. So whatever innovations that they want to bring to bear, whatever improvements they want to bring to the electoral process, it has to be backed by law. INEC, as a commission, cannot make laws. The legislature, in this case the National Assembly, also is the one saddled with the powers of making these laws. That said, in order to make laws that will allow for INEC, that will empower INEC to do what it ought to do, the National Assembly will have to alter or make amendments to relevant sections of the Constitution to allow for these improvements, to allow for these innovations. So, once again, can questions or should questions be asked? The answer is yes. I believe that it would have been totally, absolutely better to see a scenario where the National Assembly simply calls INEC and says, you know what, guys, come, we have questions to ask regarding your capacity and ability to make this work. And then when INEC explains that, you can go further. So what are the challenges? What challenges do you envisage is going to be the problem with this process? Yes, you say it's the way to go. Yes, you say it's going to make our electoral process credible. Yes, you say it's going to repose more confidence in the electoral system in Nigerians, thereby helping to raise voter apathy, ensuring more Nigerians are concerned with and take part in the process. It all sounds great. It sounds fantastic. But do you also envisage that there might be challenges? And then when INEC itemizes or identifies and explains what those challenges are, the question then would be, how do we resolve these challenges? Can we find solutions to these challenges? and then we ensure that we can work out the modalities. If we need to enact some law, if we need to amend sections of the Constitution, if we need to make budgetary allowances or allocations for these, that is what we should be doing. Because once again, and I think our lawmakers and people in government generally need to be reminded that the I in INEC means independent. The I in INEC means independent, because the moment that INEC says we want to do this and somebody else says no, you cannot do that, no, you must not do that, no, you should not do that, it might raise questions as to the independent status of INEC. Because once again, yes, there are challenges with the system, with whatever network coverage or whatever else there is or might be needed to make this work, but INEC says the independent body that has been given the responsibility to do this job says we can do it. The NCC is not the NCC's job to conduct elections. It's not the National Assembly's job to conduct elections. It's not even the President's job to conduct elections. It's INEC's responsibility, wholly, solely, 100%. It's INEC's responsibility to conduct elections. And the independent body, started with that responsibility, says we want to bring in these innovations and we can do it. What I expect of anyone, the National Assembly especially with what's played out in recent times, is once again calling on INEC and asking those silly questions. Can you really do it? Fine, you can do it, as you say. What challenges do you envisage, and how can we overcome those challenges? Not identifying challenges and saying, oh, because of these challenges that these other experts have identified, not even INEC. We're referring to the NCC now, not even INEC, because of these challenges that this other body or these other individuals or these other agencies have identified. For that reason, INEC, nope, we're not doing it. Once again, it calls the question, where is the independence of INEC? I believe that this is a majorly defining moment in our history as a nation. And sadly, as I do many times on the show, especially during my rants, people in government have to be reminded of seemingly elementary things that you would reckon nobody needs reminding, at least not the people in government anyway. So I'd like to remind them today. As well, sadly, I find that one has to consistently on several matters. The I in INEC means independence. What that means is that individual, that body, that agency that you have given the responsibility to carry out must not be hindered from carrying out that activity. And if that independent body says we can do something, you do not question their ability to do it. What you should do is ask them, what do you need to make this happen? So the question is not, is electronic transmission the right way to go? Everyone agrees it's the right way to go. But the issue is, if there are challenges with it, the question should be, INEC, how do we solve the problem? How do we overcome this challenge so that you, INEC, can do the job that the country has given you to do? On that note, I end my rant. Many thanks for listening. Hope I didn't bore you. Any thoughts about Let's Hear It? Numbers are the same. The lines are open. We got 0817 923 0002 or 0003. That's 0817 923 0007 as well. Those are the numbers to call. You're welcome to join me right now. We're live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. WhatsApp is on 0809 030 6416. Please keep it brief, concise, and straight to the point. Once the call is answered, do please turn down the volume of your radio set. It's expedient not to do so, else we literally cannot have ourselves a conversation. Got a call on the line already. I've got David on the line. David, hello, you're welcome. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I love you. So I want to talk about the deserting athlete.
David, that's not what's being discussed right now, and I wonder how David got past my call screener. But that's not what's being discussed at the moment, David. We're discussing the subject of my rant a while ago, which once again has to do with the independence of INEC. But via Facebook, I've got some comments over here. Salama Gilman goes, that's the way to go in a fast-changing world. Okay. Tamino Tekena Upso David goes, they've said it all, they just need the financial backing to put things in order against 2023. Good news, Uwam goes, I wish to stand on the notion they can transmit election results electronically. Thank God Table goes, those against the electronic transmission of results are afraid of free and fair elections, and they know that they can't win elections without ballot box snatching. That's why they are kicking against the electronic transmission of results. Kudos to INEC for clearing the air. All right, to the phone lines once again. I've got Barry from Rumigbo. Barry, hello, go ahead.
Good evening, Dayo.
Hi, go on.
Sorry, I want to contribute towards the INEC issue and the House of Rep. As of on Wednesday, after when their issue was raised, if you listen where there was a time the speaker called on, make an announcement that INEC and NCC should come to the House. You know that INEC did not come. As of Friday, they make an announcement that they can conduct the election electorate, but they did not appear in the House. It was the only entity that appeared there. So whom are you going to blame now? Are you going to blame the House of Reps or the INEC? There is no truth.
There's no truth to
INEC
what?
To these people.
What do you mean there's no truth? INEC has said what it can do. What do you mean there's no truth?
But when the House of Reps said they should appear in the House on Friday or on Thursday, they did not come. They later come on air that they can do it. Although they are independent, but they did not prove their independence to the nation. They could have raised around that. There should be no law that will ban them from not conducting that election electronics. Please, they should help us so that things can be good for those that are coming up. Because the people we see yesterday are the people that are still continuing. It's not supposed to be like that. Thank you.
All right. David from D-Line. Hello, David. Go on.
Yeah, very good afternoon.
Hi, go ahead.
It's unfortunate what has just played out. Yes, though they are independent, but they have to work side by side with the experts in the communication industry. Now, how well does the expert know that I won't be able to do my job? If I'm a barber, how well is the carpenter that is going to fix the mirror in my salon will tell me that I can't cut the hair of my clients? That's just the case that played out here. And can we now say what Section 78 of the Constitution provides for, that INEC should be responsible for regulating, conducting, transmitting, and announcing of election results? Is it now the case? For me, I think no. For those who are against it, I think they are the enemies of their own people. Because if they are saying that there are no communication gadgets there, that there is no network there, the question that shouldn't it have been, how do we get network to these very communities? Is it for us to get more routers for this community, or for us to get a brand new communication map? Is that not endangering development to their people? I think they are the true enemies of Nigeria. And first of all, to make the correction, INEC was never invited to the floor of the National Assembly. They were only invited to the INEC ad hoc committee, where they emphatically said they are capable of replicating what they did at Edo and Ondo to electronic transmission of results. And then on the day of the hearing proper before the floor, they refused to invite them, stating that they cannot be a judge in their own case. I don't know how this can be possible, because if I'm the one conducting the election for you, who will not be the one to be a judge in his own case? You that is the one to be elected, or me that is conducting the election for you? That is an umpire. It's like telling a referee not to referee a match, but you yourself that the other party of the match that you want to referee it. The National Assembly are the ones being a judge in their own case because they're only trying to look for a way where they will come back to the back door. Very unfortunate.
All right, David. Dr. Imam from LMA. Imam, you're welcome. Please go on.
Yes, thank you. You really raised the question, how independent is INEC? And I want to say that INEC is not independent. INEC is already biased right from the outset. I remember 2019 election. The Conservative Party raised alarm, and they came and stopped and they stopped what was going on. And they took it.
Imam, can you hear me?
And the INEC.
Imam, once again, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. There is no doubt. I'm sure if I give you 1 hour, you can reel out instances where you are convinced that INEC has been biased in the past. But that's not the essence of this conversation. The essence is, yes, admittedly, there are challenges to the process so far. INEC is saying now that we have innovations, we have new processes and procedures that will help improve the electoral system. That's the essence of this conversation.
And I'm saying no. Because
you're saying no to what exactly?
I am saying no to what INEC are saying.
Why are you saying no to it? Why are you saying no to it?
They are not independent.
Why are you saying no to it?
INEC, you are a Nigerian. You know what we are saying.
You're not following the direction of the conversation.
Let me tell you. These INEC officials are working in collaboration.
Okay. Ima, I'm going to have to let you go. But thanks for joining the conversation, though. All right, go to Ibiso from Audley Road. Ibiso, you're welcome. Please go on.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, go on.
Good afternoon. The thing here is, my own take is, don't be in a hurry to marry a woman that you cannot feed, and you want your parents to feed the woman that you marry. INEC, they should not be in a hurry. We are in Nigeria, where at the end of the day, they'll come out and tell us that one thing or the other. Don't be in a hurry. Let them cool down and know how this thing will go about before they come and tell the people that they have the capacity to do it. At the end of the day, they'll come and tell that somebody hack their internet or whatever. That's my own take. They should not be in a hurry to marry a woman that they cannot.
When will INEC be able to do it? Do you know?
Dayo, let me ask you
just answer the question. I asked you a question, Ibiso. Ibiso, I asked you a question. Can you hear me, Ibiso? No, you listen to me. I asked you a question. I needed to answer my question. When will INEC be able to do it?
INEC, just come out and say that they will do it.
Ibiso, when will INEC?
Before you build your studio,
okay.
Before you build your studio, there is a procedure you pass through build your studio.
Ibiso, what is the procedure? What is the procedure that INEC needs to pass through, and when will they be able to do it?
See, but the procedure.
Yes.
Now they've come to the public domain and said that we can do it. Before you come to the public domain, my brother, it's those states and on those states. It's just 2 states that.
What is the procedure, and when will INEC be able to do it?
36 states in the country. 36 states in the country that you want to conduct election, and you tell me that you have the capacity to do it. But let us be
for the last time, what is the procedure, and when will INEC be able to do it?
The procedure there is, if even Dayo, the former president of Nigeria,
so I have to move on right now. You don't have the answer to my question, obviously. I've got Harry from EOFA. Harry, you're welcome. Please go on.
Good afternoon, my brother.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, I agree that INEC is independent, but they must work on laws. If the House of Representatives and the Senate has never given them the authority to go about this electronic transition of vote, then they should not hurry. Let them wait for the approval of. Let the law be there.
When do you think Harry, what is the right time for the approval?
Electronic transition of
Harry,
I do not agree.
What is the right time for the approval?
The right time for the approval is when nice one, a good method of this transmission.
I don't understand what you're saying. When is the right time for them to get the approval?
When the correct method. This present one is not good. This one will cost.
What is this one? What is this one?
This one that the presiding officer will be transmitting the results from the polling booth to the receptacle there. It's not, you know what that thing will cost.
Okay, Harry, I'm quite certain even you don't know as well. But Harry, great to hear from you though. I do have to move on. I got let's see, via Facebook. Brian Ledom goes, INEC needs the support of the people right now to push this matter forward. If they have said that they do it, they can do it, then we need to support them. Onyesha Geoffrey goes, APC knows they can't win free and fair election currently with their kind of leadership. That's why they're kicking against e-transmission. Now that INEC has proved them wrong, let's see how it goes. I've got a comment via WhatsApp then. Quite a few actually. Good afternoon, Dio. Did you say INEC talked of transmitting results? If this is true, then we're going somewhere in this country. However, there should be synergy between INEC and NTC to make the exercise a huge success. This will invariably make Nigeria a reference point, as Williams from Fuche community. Good dial. The I in INEC, like you said, means independent. Whereas when the board of it is elected by the incumbent administrator, how do you expect the organization to function properly? I doubt it. We will keep on revolving like a circle. That's Ntega. The persons appointed to a position does not mean that, or that people are appointed to a position doesn't mean they can't do their jobs independently, I disagree with you, Dio. Everyone hustles for power and have it by hook or crook. INEC could have been independent, as the name implies, but my concern is that our leaders failed because whatever blunders they commit while in office, no one queries them. Like it's happening in South Africa, Zuma is in trouble from his past. It's only by so doing that we could have a responsible leadership in Nigeria. Can I take Marcus and Transmadi? Welcome, please go on.
Yeah, Dayo, how are you doing?
Hi, go ahead.
All right, then. You see, Dayo, if Nigerians do not rise up for this singular reason, then forever we should keep our peace. This whole thing is a charade. They know what they're doing. In collusion, NCC and the so-called National House of Assembly. But if you remember, I was just sitting back the other day, I was just thinking, and something just popped in mind. Sometime last month, there was this very unusual advert from NCC saying, any individual or company or whatever that few or innocent listeners remember that.
I think I remember that. Yes.
TV channels and all that.
Yeah.
And I was like, where is this coming from? Who is talking about boosting networks and all that? I mean, then this this report was later uncovered that it had been ready for a few months back. So they had it prepared, but I think of the best way to.
Marcus, it may not be that way. I mean, these are highly regulated equipment. So if individuals or organizations are using this equipment and they're not registered to use them, then that would amount to a breach, and who knows, it might even have security implications as well. So the NCC might not be out of place to ask individuals who are not licensed to use them to not use them.
Well, if they are saying if you're not licensed or whatever, that's different. That wasn't even mentioned. I remember vividly this advert or whatever it's called. Do you understand me? What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is these guys know what they're doing. Like you rightly pointed out, INEC, they should be able to say we can do this or we cannot do this, and these are the challenges and all that. for them to have brought this to the floor, and after 2 days they run into their shelves in the name of their recession or whatever they call it till September, hoping that by then, our usual way in Nigeria, everybody will have just kick the can down the road, let's just move on and and all that. Then they'll come and do what they need to do. If we don't rise up now, Dayo, this is a turning point. Because you cannot tell me that, Dayo, vessels that traverse the whole length and breadth of this, they use satellite communications. They don't use the regular 4G, 5G, and all that, unless they come close to the coast.
But definitely, they're also licensed to use that.
Sorry?
They're also licensed to use that.
That's what I'm saying, Dayo. If INEC wants to do it, and you're complaining that the regular 4Gs and maybe the 3Gs and all that, there are some areas that they're not being covered, INEC can use satellite communication. They can give them the license to do that.
Marcus, that's the much I can take from you. Thanks for your contribution, Marcus. It's 4 p.m. right now. We have to wrap up this conversation. I had an IT expert and consultant in the studio last week, Dowell Miri. He said whatever shortfalls there might be in the system right now, infrastructure-wise, it can be made up for. By that time, we can, and INEC says they can do it. A reminder once again, finally, the I in INEC remains independent. 4 p.m. a break for the business news. I return afterwards. Conversation continues. How should media houses report conflicts or matters of insecurity in the country or anywhere else for that matter? When I return, deep